G'day and welcome to another Pokemon Go video looking at the Master League. So I've been doing a few of these and I'm I have increased my rank up to 24-35, so I have gone up a bit higher than that, lost a few, went back down. So I'm going to jump in and have a look at my team. So I've got Giratina, Metagross and Dialga. So the question is, do I stick with that or do I change it up? So I think the only thing I'm going to do is switch their positions, just because I'm used to having Dialga in the second spot and Metagross in the third, just when I'm switching out of Giratina if I get an unfavorable matchup from the start. So unfavorable matchups would be Dragonite, Dragonite and Dialga leads from opposition teams. So the difficult thing I have is if they come out with a Togekiss. So I can obviously swap in my Metagross, but Togekiss is one of those questionable. If I swap in my Metagross, then they're obviously going to swap straight out, and all chances are they're going to have something to counter Metagross, so something like a Kyogre or their own Giratina in the back there to counter that. So I will run with Giratina up in the lead, and then swap in when I need to. So we'll see how that goes. So first battle up, Red Moltres. So, what are they leading with? A Swampert. So that's pretty good for me. Let's see if they stay in. So it looks like they're staying in. So I'm going to go straight Shadow Ball and hope that they do not shield this. So it seems very variable whether people shield the first one or not. And it looks like they haven't. So that's happy days for me. So I'm not going to shield this. I'll let it go through. I'm hoping it's a Hydro Cannon. It's not. It's an Earthquake, obviously, because that would have been too useful. And now into the Togekiss. So now I can really start farming with this Metagross, and that works out pretty well for me. So they're going to get to a charge move, so I will pull the trigger on this one. Force them to use a shield if they want to keep it alive. If not, so they've not shielded there, so that's an interesting one. So they're probably going to come straight back in with their Swampert. So they've not come back in with Swampert. Another interesting move there. So let's see how we go. So I will let this one go, so I won't shield any of this. So yeah. See you later. And then I'll come back in with my Dialga. So it didn't quite take me out, which is fine. And I'll come back in with Dialga. And then this is when they'll probably, I imagine, switch in with their Swampert, which is absolutely fine. So I don't know what happened there. So got a bit of lag. So really would like to throw that ominous wind, but I'm clearly getting a reasonable amount of lag here. So they didn't shield that up, and then let's see what we've got. So I'm going to ominous wind here straight away. So they probably will shield this up, because if they don't, it'll even knowing that it's an ominous wind, it'll take them so close to into range of being fast move farm down. So I'll shield this up regardless whether it's an ominous wind or a shadow ball. I'm really hoping for the Shadow Ball. It's not going to be. So the next one probably will be the Shadow Ball, but I'm going to be able to fast move farm them down and end this game. So I've done 2 ominous wins. Let's see if they can get to a third, which they can't. So that's a good game right there. So we'll go into battle number 2. So leave the same setup. So the only thing I'm thinking is, do I put Giratina as my buddy to get the boost? Just because obviously the first matchup's oh so important, and if I've got the unfavorable matchup that is Giratina versus Togekiss, then with the buddy boost on my Giratina, that's potentially going to make a difference. So I need to think about that one. I'll look how close when I get to a matchup against Togekiss. I'll look how close to see if it would make the difference between an extra charge move or not. So this is a really bad matchup for me. So I'm going to swap into my own. So I fully expect them to swap out, and they're not swapping out, which is interesting. So they have now. So what have they swapped out to? So they've swapped out to a Mewtwo. So that's an interesting swap. So I'm going to throw this fast move, and I'm just going to keep charging it down. So the interesting thing will be, do they have? So they're spending a long time attacking, so they may have Focus Blast, which is why I've gone straight up Shield. Oh, so they've Psystriked, so that's really not good for me. Let's get this next one in, see what they've got. So I'm going to have to Shield again, I think. Let's see. So I'm going to commit it. I'm going to commit the second shield. I'm really hoping it's not a Psystrike. Yeah, so that's the Focus Blast right there. So good. So that was the correct shield to make. So let's just try and farm it down. Let's see what's going to come in. What are you? Come on. So it's their own. Oh, and they got me off the mark there. So I hesitated for a second. What have they got? Iron Head. So that's not going to be enough. So that's fine. So I'm going to Draco Meteor in return. And say see you later to their Dialga. And what have they got in the back? So that's an interesting one. So it should be, so let's see whether they've got Blizzard or not. If they've got Blizzard, this could be interesting. But I'll go straight up Shadow Ball. No shields left on the table, so that's fine. And then let's see what they do. So if this is a Surf, which I think it will be. I don't know that they've had long enough to charge up a Blizzard. Oh, so it's a Thunder. So that's an interesting one. So they must have Thunder and Surf. So I'm just going to pull the trigger on and go straight in. So I could have just gone the Ominous Wind there just because they have absolutely no health left. But that works out all right for me there. So, and that's good game. So that's game number 2 done. So, I mean, we'll jump straight into game 3. Let's go. Leave the same setup and see what we get. So, Satoshi 3104V. That's a very, very bright shirt you've got there. Let's see how we go. So, a Dark Cry. Interesting. So, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure on what move this is going to have, so I'm going to let it go. It's a Dark Pulse, and all that's super effective, so that's really not ideal for me. So I was, they're probably going to let this one go because it's not very effective. And now, so of course my attack and defense rose now when it's next to useless. So I'm not going to shield this. There's no point wasting a shield with that little health. Had I had more health and shielded the first Dark Pulse, I would have shielded the second one. So what do I want? So this is really quite interesting. So let's see what they do here. So they're probably going to Dark Pulse me. So I'll let this one go as well. I don't know why I'm keeping so many shields, because that's done a lot of damage. So that's done a lot more damage than I was expecting. I guess Darkrai is a bit of a beast. Let's just go flat out Draco Meteor. So they're going to shield this one, which is fine, but I was never going to get to a second charge move anyway. And this is good game, and by good game I mean awful game for me. That Darkrai was really not well prepared for that. So this is probably going to be an Iron Head, but I might as well shield. Oh, it's a Draco Meteor, so I'm really glad I shielded there. So I'm going to let this go a little bit. Let's just charge up a whole lot extra. Oh, so for this one, I reckon I'm going to leave it. So it's an Iron Head, so that's good. So I'm going to go the shield bait here. So actually I probably shouldn't have, because I didn't think they would shield that because they've got lower attack stat. So let's see what's in the back. So this is an interesting one. So I don't think I've got enough charged energy to win this match. Not when they've got 2 shields. So let's see if I can get there. So I can't get to it, and then they're going to fast move me down, which this game ended up closer than I was expecting, to be completely honest. But they fast move farm me down there. So that Darkrai out of the gate really took me by surprise. So nice little bit of a team change up there. Turns out I should have swapped out straight away and shielded its Dark Pulses, because they were absolutely brutal. So let's jump into the next one. So that shows someone taking something a little bit off meta, getting a really good lead for it, and me just being foolish and taking a few hits from it. So this is not ideal for me either, so I'm going to have to switch out into my own Dialga here, and hope they don't have something that counters it massively, which it kind of... let's just charge this up and go into an Iron Head. So I'm hoping that I draw a shield here, because I charged up for a little bit longer than normal, and I do, so happy days. So the question is, do I shield or do I not? So I think I'm going to shield this one, just to give me... I'll do a little bit of extra damage. Let's give this a go, and I'm going to try and get to Draco Meteor here. Let's see what they do. If they burn a second shield, good for me. If they don't, then also good for me, because it's going to take them out. So that's worked out well. So the only problem now is they've got a fairly stacked Dialga. So I have to be really careful here. So I think I'm going to use up my shield. Let's see what they do. So it is Draco Meteor, so I'm really glad with that. So yeah, and they've swapped out there, so that's fine. So I'm going to swap out myself, and let's see what they do. So I'm hoping for a Ominous Wind here. Oh, it's a Shadow Ball, so that's not looking good for me. So I'm going to Ominous Wind. This is not great. So Ominous Wind, but they will shield that, because obviously if they can... they don't have to deal with my Metagross, then... well, if they can use Giratina, it can deal with my Metagross relatively easily. Whereas the... so I'm really hoping for an Ominous Wind here. I don't think it will be. No, it's a Shadow Ball, so that's going to take me out. So that was close. Unfortunately, didn't quite get it there. So really bad lead again. So that leaves me at 2-2. So let's see if I can get this round positive. So it's a good start, and then lagged in the end. So getting those bad leads and really not recovering well. So let's see, what have we got? Mewtwo, so that's a really good lead for me. So they should get out of there. So they're not getting out of there, which is interesting. So this is going to be the Psy Strike, has to be, just because it's charged up very, very quickly. So Psy Strike still does a lot of damage there. So I think I'm going to go for an Ominous Wind here to try and bait them. So, this is, so they didn't go for the bait. So I'm going to go straight up for another one. Let's see if they shield this one. So they may shield this one, which will be unfortunate for me. So they've not shielded that one either. And I think I'm going to let this go. So Iron Head takes me almost out, but not quite. So I'm just trying to think of what I should do here. So I'm going to go with my Dialga, just because the flame damage will do a little bit less. And then let's see what they've got. So they might bring out their Mewtwo. So they've brought out Mewtwo. So that's an interesting one. So I would assume that means they've got Focus Blast. I'm going to shield this. No, so it's Psy Strike. So that's unfortunate. Let's see if I can get there before they do. So I'm going to let this go. I'm really hoping that this isn't the Focus Blast. If this is the Focus Blast, yeah, so it's not, so that's good. If it was the Focus Blast, then I would be in all sorts of trouble there. So let's see what they've got. So they've got a... that's, yeah, fine with me. So they might be running the Earthquake here. So I'm going to shield this up. Let's see. It is the Earthquake, so that's a good shield. So it means at least they have to get to another Earthquake before... so this is going to be a close one, actually. So if I can use up their second shield, I'll be happy. It's going to be really close getting to this. Come on. Yes, so I got there. So they're going to have to shield this one up as well. And they're probably going to have to Earthquake me to finish it off. So let's see what they do. So they could just be trying to charge me down here. That's really interesting. That's ambitious. So let's... so Body Slam there. So that's ambitious. So they want to keep... so do they have enough for the Earthquake is the question. So if I saw them go into the Lick animation, so it looks like they didn't have enough for the Earthquake, and Draco Meteored there and to get the job done. So that wasn't too bad. So having that Snorlax in the back worked out okay for them. Obviously, they would have liked to align that to my Giratina, but that wasn't the way. Didn't happen. So all good for me. So I did manage to go 3-2. So won the first two, lost the second two, and then pulled back and got the third one there done as well. So the Darkrai on the lead was just my poor play. So it's a Pokemon that I've don't come across much. And it does a fair bit of damage, actually. So I'm just trying to think of the plays that's going to work well on. So obviously it worked well on both Dialga and especially on my Giratina. So it's an interesting one. So it's one I'll probably have a think about as well. So let's claim these rewards. And let's see how we did. So 24.35. So 24.44. So it went up 9, which is pretty standard, really. And again, went positive, so happy with that. Slowly climbing my way up. Hopefully I don't have a absolutely mess of a time and manage to keep winning more than I'm losing, and I'd be happy with that. So my goal for this season is to get to rank 9. I honestly, with the way I play and the fact that I'm still not counting how many quick moves to get to the charge, I don't think I'm going to get to rank 10 or anywhere near rank 10, to be honest. I think rank 9 is roughly where I'm going to end this season, and I would like to get to rank 9. And see how we go. So that's it for another one of these. If you've got any suggestions for teams, leave them in the comments. If you've got any you want me to try out, give me a shout. So I do have a reasonable amount of candy and a reasonable amount of Stardust. So if you've got a fairly standard sort of team or something even a little bit offbeat, I'll give it a go, try and see how it works. So I think one of the big advantages of probably some of my battles compared to some of the other people battling is it's a little bit more realistic in terms of I'm not perfect. I miss my switches, I throw the wrong charge move sometimes, and I don't know every single Pokemon and every single move that it possibly has. So as you can see with the Darkrai matchup just there, it didn't go well for me, so I do make mistakes. So it's a reasonable representation of what most people can probably expect to see during battling. All these rank 10 battlers are absolutely insane, but using the same teams as they do, the way they do, is not a realistic representation of how I can battle, and let's be honest, how most people can. So I might be a little bit more real picture of what you could expect to get from a team. So hopefully that helps in some way. More than happy to mix my team up a bit, and give something different a try. I like those off-meta picks can be quite good, because obviously, like they did for me, keep saying it this set, that Darkrai threw me. They can throw people, and for the ones that people aren't sort of expecting. So thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.